I do not want to hear anything further about this young man being harassed. Do we understand each other?
I believe we do, Mr. Who are you?
I'm a friend of the family.
Welcome to Second Class Cinema, the show where we watch a B movie and immediately discuss. I'm Tom. I'm here with Eric, Brittany, and Fallon.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
What's up?
Oh, nothing much. You know, here recording.
Just watching a movie and immediately discussing.
Yeah. Eric, what were you going to say?
I was going to say we're harmonizing very nicely.
Yeah, that was a good job. Fallon, how are you today?
Personally, I can't stop smiling.
Yeah.
Is it because of the movie we just watched?
And the beautiful harmonies. I think it means it's going to be a good one and or a nice even number, which pleases me.
Oh, that's good.
90, it's a good round one.
Yeah,
that's important.
This is episode 90, so this is pretty cool. We've done a lot of these, and we're not that much better at it. So that's why we have Fallon here.
We still don't know how to start episodes.
Yeah. Still a rocky road. So we watched Brittany's pick tonight. It was your pick. It was
by proxy of Fallon telling me I needed to watch it a million times.
Correct.
I forced this movie down people's throats.
I understand why, though.
I get it. Well, that movie is 2014's The Guest. We'll go ahead and say it.
Yes.
So I guess that is why we watched this movie. It was because of Fallon. Yes. Yeah.
And I know that Adam Wingard had directed Your Next, which was like a movie that completely took me by surprise.
That was a good one.
So I felt like this would at least be good enough.
Good enough.
And then he has, as we were saying before, he has Blair Witch Project coming out. And just, I guess, by the time this goes up, probably about a week or so, I think it's the 16th, the new Blair Witch comes out.
Oh, yeah, so it'll be about a week from when we post this, probably, which is really exciting. And I was semi-looking forward to seeing that, but now that I know that he's attached to it, I am even more excited.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited for that. So what was The Guest about? Brittany, why don't you fill us in?
I forgot that I was going to have to do this. Shit.
That's on you.
All right, so The Guest is about a family who loses their son in the army, and shortly thereafter, they receive a visit from one of his platoon mates, I guess?
Yeah, that's what they call them.
Squad
platoon mates.
Squad members.
That's the with Charlie Sheen, right?
Fucking, I don't know. Well, what do they call them then?
I don't know.
Mr. Smarty fucking Pants?
That's what they call them.
Brothers.
Brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
Brothers with arms.
Good pals.
Anyway, one of his fellow...
Call him Goon Squad. Does that help?
Sure. Who is basically just like, oh, I knew your son. He wanted me to come tell you all that he loved you, blah, blah, blah. But slowly, weird things start happening around this guy, and he starts to let his psycho side slip a little bit, and people start to suspect that he's not actually who he says he is.
Tight summation.
Yeah, I don't want to divulge any further details.
Yeah, that's
top secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, how spoilery do we get in here right away?
Well, okay, I feel like
as we go on.
Yeah, I think so. We soften the blow.
I feel like if you care about spoilers, why would you be listening?
That's a good point.
Yeah, so fuck you.
we probably should. I mean, this is a newer movie. We should probably say if you don't want this spoiled, you should probably stop here.
Yeah, all right.
The
good.
customer
We watch
is
old
never
garbage that
right.
everyone hates.
Yeah, we'll keep the disclaimer up. I do want to say one thing.
You can. This is a
Go
safe
for it.
space, and if you want to say something, you can.
Thank you. I feel much more comfortable. But in all capital letters, I have in my notebook, "Get ready for your new sexual brother." Is that the new tagline for the movie?
That was kind of the subplot of this movie.
Sexy as fuck.
So sexy as fuck.
He's like Bobo Chris Evans. Like, he looks so much like Chris Evans. It's crazy.
I have made a habit since my first time viewing this movie. I think I'm probably on viewing 6 or 7 of it now in the last year or so. Of just searching for gifs of Dan Stevens and sending them around to my Brittany and Tom and Eric. You've now seen the movie. You're now in the Dan Stevens gift circle.
Excellent. I'm excited.
Being a Freemason, I'm so
I think the other thing I want to say, just to entice people about how special this movie is before we get
Sell
into
it hard.
is one of my friend Sarah, who I also holy shit, Sarah's the one who turned me on to this movie. She's the root source.
Oh, thanks, Sarah.
She's the source.
Patient zero.
Her and her husband have this like agreement with the guest.
What? So a guest agreement. What is the guest agreement?
The guest agreement is that she, like myself, often feels compelled to watch it far more than is normal. So her husband basically says to her, fine, we can watch until he does something cool. And, you know, in the parameters of this movie, until he does something like especially guestly or sexy, you know, that's how they can get one of those, and then they turn it off.
Okay.
You gotta savor it.
Yeah.
He gets it.
Because otherwise, like me, she'd probably be on viewing 7 or 8 right now.
You need to go to a anonymous group.
This guy's straight up handing out fetishes left and right.
Is it because of how like sexy this guy is?
It's got to be it.
Okay, you clowns, cut the crap.
All right, so let's just let's go into successes then. Let's start with how sexy he is
Sure, that's a success.
as a straight
It is a
success of the movie.
success,
Also, good actor.
Okay, secondary to how good he looks, all right?
Well, I didn't say it. You did, so I had no choice but to be secondary.
Okay, of course.
And, you know, a real sexual menace. One of the first times that we sense that something is wrong with, what's his name? What's he calling himself? David?
David, yes.
Okay, one of the first times we sense something is off with David is when they suddenly cut to him in the family's home, staring for like into the distance, looking very attractive.
1,000-yard stare.
1,000-yard stare. He does this several times through the movie. It's very menacing.
I really appreciate an intimidating sexuality.
Oh,
Brings me back to 1994 with Mark Wahlberg in Fear.
Oh my gosh! Yes, I feel
like we've talked about
So how confusing is stuff like this for women? Like, how confusing is that? Like, things like Fear, like, I guess it just works because
it's a real pickle.
Yeah.
Because
I get it.
You want
No, I certainly
because
understand.
on one hand you want to be like, no, consent is good, and abuse is bad, but on the other hand you're like, I'm kind of enticed by his dark nature.
Yeah,
Because he
feel
can lift that corner of his mouth and turn it into a smirk.
He
Just
can also
one
lift
little-
2 kegs at the same time over his head.
Okay,
as we see later.
That
in the
actually
movie,
brings
but-
me to like my top success, which was this movie felt oddly 80s and oddly familiar.
Dude, yes.
But like while still being kind of modern and self-aware, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved like all the like 80s stereotypical cool guy tropes they used, like him coming out of the bathroom and like a cloud of steam just pushing him out and he's just glistening in his towel and you're like, oh my god, this is 1985. And then the carrying both the kegs, I was like, this is so perfect. Like I felt like they knew exactly what they were doing.
And then he smokes a J and just basically blows the smoke straight into the camera while giving the aforementioned 1,000-yard stare.
He did like the overhand drag too, like the
Oh, yeah.
cool guy drag,
Wicked cool.
you know?
I fell for him. I definitely did.
Tom's his new biggest fan.
And on top of I also had this had like an 80s vibe and like a 90s type story, like this weird infiltration type story with like I hate using this as an adjective, but it had like that gritty realism that you get from movies today. So it kind of just bridged all these different avenues and then boiled it into one movie.
It did bring a lot of things together.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
really,
like
really
an
well.
Action, horror, comedy all at the same time.
Yeah,
Like an 80s
Yeah.
horror movie and a 90s action movie and then like a modern comedy all at the same time.
And
It's
it was
pretty fascinating.
good at all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the like set design, the styling, the feel. I mean, we keep saying the 80s with it, but just the way this movie looks like on the set end, and then the like almost John Carpenter synths and noises as
Yeah.
people are walking around. It's the colors are super lush and kind of like jallowy and green and yellow and super cool. I got so excited I was pumping my fist. No one can see that, but I banged my elbow.
You're beating up the house.
Also took place right before Halloween, which is always a special time for movies like this.
yeah.
I feel like it's just a great time to set your story.
It does. It puts it in the canon of like, oh, I can watch this movie once or 5 times a year, at the very least once.
I live in New England. I'm obsessed with Halloween.
Of course, that's how it goes. Eric, what about you for successes?
The soundtrack is boss.
So good. I was
The soundtrack is pretty much directly out of my Spotify weekly. It was just nothing but agrotech and retro wave and classic like dark wave and goth. I think we heard like 3 Clan of Zymox songs, which I don't know why it keeps happening when Fallon shows up on the show that we have a movie with Clan of Zymox in it for some reason. We've watched all 2 movies that has that in the soundtrack. But like the music was just fucking awesome, and I felt the fact that they said it in Halloween justified this choice of music.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't really make sense in the context of any other setting, but they managed to make it work. And even though it doesn't really fit with the plot, it fits with the look of the movie.
Totally.
And I enjoyed it a lot.
I forget the terms for when music is part of the noise of the film
there's diegetic and non-diegetic, but I don't remember which is which.
I don't either. But I like how they like kind of flipped it and reversed it and like made her burn him a CD, which was then like the soundtrack for the last 20 minutes of the movie. I thought that was pretty rad.
That was awesome.
Yeah, very interesting.
I thought, and even though like as much as I'm kind of gushing about him, I think that she meaning the sister and the family, who's like the one person who's kind of on to him and starts realizing he's not the man he says he is. I think she's like a really good final girl and kind of really holds it together, is pretty compelling in her own way. Even like, I feel like when you're against someone as charismatic, when the villain is so charismatic, it's really hard for everyone else to stand up. You kind of usually just be like, die, bitch.
I kept being like, when are they going to make out? Oh, but he killed her family.
Shit. God damn it.
Yeah,
you didn't kill my parents. Fuck.
Listen, hold on. There's still room for the guest 2.
That's
he
very
was
true.
a really sad dad. He was, he probably needed to die.
The dad was awful. I hated him. I actually wrote Spencer dad is annoying. I get wanting him dead because I knew he was going to be dead at some point.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think all right, so I didn't think the family was going to get iced that way.
Me neither. No, I wasn't expecting that.
I thought it was going to be like I don't want to hurt you guys. I just want to get the fuck out of here and away from the army type thing.
Correct, yeah. But he was programmed to tie up loose ends.
It's true.
And that's unfortunate.
But then I was like, if the mom hadn't yelled, would he have stabbed her?
Yes.
I don't know.
Like if she was like, oh, I'm not going to tell anyone. Because when Luke was like, I'm not going to tell anyone, he was like, oh, okay.
We're good here.
I mean, who knows if he would have come back and killed him later anyway.
That's what I was thinking by the end of the movie that he was going to do.
Yeah, that whole scene when he's talking to the mother right before he kills her, and she's kind of trying to like force the movie plot out of him, and he just answers like with the flip, "It's too complicated to explain," followed by "It doesn't matter." Like,
yeah, she got loopered.
I don't know why. Another movie that all might really piss me off. No, this movie, love it. Like, I love that it's so like DGAF about just like the details. Just like, nope, these are the rules for this one. Like, we kill people. It doesn't matter. You're not going to get a clear explanation on why he is doing anything.
Medical experiments.
Yeah, it's all vague terms, and I don't know why I accept it from this movie, but I did.
The movie is so fun without you needing to really understand why. I think it just knew it could get away with it. It was like, if we just make this a blast to watch, we can have a super vague plot line and no one will ever care.
Yeah, you know those types of people who can just say whatever they want, even though it might be kind of offensive, but they get away with it because of who they are. Like, if that person was a movie, this would be them. Fallon, what about you? I know you've had some successes. Do you have anything else?
Just in terms of just like the way the whole movie comes together and everything that we haven't talked about, I like that it starts right away.
Yes.
Starts with him showing up on the door. There's the way it changes, I guess 40 minutes in is peculiar, but I couldn't care less.
We're in this movie now.
I mean, I would say for me, the success is like the pacing kept pulling me along. I liked the way that built tension. I liked how he kept doing his refrain in the beginning of just, he told me to say, I love you.
Yeah.
That's just like creepy. It kind of I was trying to think of other movies where someone says the same thing over and over and over again, and it becomes more and more sinister. I don't know. Did you guys ever see The Vanishing? Where there's two versions of it.
With Sandra Bullock and Kiefer Sutherland.
That's one of them.
Yes,
yeah, and
I've only seen that.
Yeah,
one.
and he keeps asking like, Joe, you want to see where your wife is? You want to say, I want to find my wife. I want to find my wife. And then at the end, just like, oh, you're gonna find your. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when something so mundane repeated becomes scary.
Definitely.
This
I can't think of any examples either right now.
Yeah.
You know how I got these scars?
Yeah. I also really enjoyed the strange fraternal and paternal relationship between David and the little brother, Luke. We haven't talked about Luke yet.
I totally loved Luke as a character. I felt bad for him.
Yeah, I kind of thought that like one of the most morbid parts of the movie was, I think, their relationship. I think that was one of the most disturbing parts because it was one that you can kind of relate to. You know, he's lost his brother Luke, and then he's got this new brother who just shows up, and he's like teaching him how to like be a man that his dad's not doing. He's not doing a very good job.
And I felt so bad when he was like, "I won't tell anyone. Like you're my friend.
You're my friend, right?"
That's
and
I was like, "No."
so sad because he's like what 16,
like 15 or 16.
Yeah, 15, 16, yeah.
Yeah, like that's super sad because that was like he was starting to look up to him, and it was actually paying off for this kid. The relationship, so many things were paying off by knowing this guy that it was kind of hard to think that he was doing anything bad.
I feel like that's a classic move to pull though, because who doesn't identify with like the kid who's getting picked on or like the underdog? I feel like it's like low hanging fruit, but I don't even care. Yeah. Every time a movie does it, I'm like, yes. Thank you.
That's satisfying to watch.
It's satisfying when he finally fucking punched that kid. My heart grew 3 sizes today.
It's funny because the sister who ends up sort of being the hero and driving it is really backburner at the beginning of this movie, because I think what really kicks the movie, for me, the experience of watching it is when it first starts, you don't really know what to make of it. It's kind of pretty straightforward. It almost seems like, oh, this is like a Normo movie. There's some, there's some bizarre things like him staring into space, the character choices by the drunken rambling father that make you like, oh, this is making some choices. But it's when he picks the brother up at school and goes to the bar, and during the bar fight, I think the bar scene is when this movie really begins for me, and what makes it special, or when it starts suddenly setting its tone of what type of movie this is going to be. Because the beginning, I feel like you can't really tell what it's going to be.
Yeah.
No, I thought I was going to watch like a straight horror movie. Like I had a sense it was maybe going to be like a creepy psychological horror movie, and this obviously has splashes of it, but it didn't really go down that route
Splashes
entirely.
of humor as well.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing is when it started, I thought we were in like, because I didn't know really much about this movie at all. I knew you had recommended it, Fallon. That was basically all I knew.
I knew like the basic, like guy shows up, people get suspicious.
I had no idea. I thought I was watching a regular thriller, and then I kept hearing like kind of laughs from you guys, and I was a little confused. I was like, wait, is this like a comedy? Like, am I allowed to like laugh at this? Because I was like,
no, just get appropriate.
Yeah. Oh, all right. But I will say that I feel like there were a lot of like nervous laughs. I don't know. I nervous laughed a lot during this one. Like, a couple times, just really had to let that out. But yeah, I was very confused in the beginning because of everyone else, and then it really just changed over time, and to be funny, and
like
then,
obviously,
yeah, it turned funny, and then it turned like action, and it's serious.
Yeah, I feel like they did a good job of making him sinister at the beginning, but you don't really understand why, because I don't know, it's like an evil smile that really looks like it wants to eat you.
I had another interesting viewing experience with this movie, which I'm curious to see how you guys take this, as how this may have changed your perception of the movie. So every year, a group of my friends on Super Bowl Sunday, as they're not football fans, they do Super Body Sunday. Okay. And so on Super Body Sunday, you pit 2 movies against each other, and you all have to vote beforehand on who has the highest, what you think is going to have the highest body count. So
that's a great time.
So is it like 2 things you've never seen before?
The majority hasn't seen it, but this year the 2 choices were The Kingsman and The Guest. Ooh. And the theme was Super Body Sunday Sleeper Cell.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
I had seen The Guest, another person had seen it, but for the most part, this room of about like 18 people had never seen it. And they all came into it knowing this was going to be a sleeper cell movie. And I think like knowing that something was off with this dude, like I think it changes something about it. And that's why I was saying in the beginning, it's like, how spoilery do you get with this? it changes the movie, but not in a bad way. It just makes it kind of sillier in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of liked going along the ride I went along, though, not knowing anything and then having it kind of unfold the way it did. I thought that was probably the part I liked the most about it. So, yeah, I think that definitely would have changed my perspective of the movie, for sure. Yeah.
I kind of like how you didn't really see much of her in the beginning, because it was kind of just like from his perspective, and he didn't really see her for a while. And then finally she kind of drifts into the picture.
At first, I thought this was going to be all about like him pursuing her. Like he showed up because he like heard about her or saw her or something. Then he came up and he was just like trying to get to her. But then that was not it at all. That was a stupid idea. That would have been a terrible movie.
No, it was more it was more about like his desire for to find an orthodontist. That's what we believe, right? Yeah,
man's quest for an orthodontist.
Yeah, that was it.
Perfect
but
body,
they
perfect teeth.
totally injected so much sexual tension between them the entire movie, so it's not ridiculous that you would think that.
You know, actually, to Tom's question earlier of like, how is that journey for us as you know, ladies who may or may not, you know, want to, you know, get down with David.
Get down with a murderer.
I thought it was really bizarre how fast Anna turns on David. It's like they have this magical night at the party. She's making a mix CD for him. Then the next day she watches him make a phone call and she's running to the computer to Google him as fast as she can.
And he like,
what the hell?
Didn't say anything super suspicious.
What happened? Was that just her female wiles just trickling, just like a spider sense? What went wrong?
I don't know. I guess maybe the way he was talking on, like his tone of voice on the phone, like really came off as super aggressive in a way that she hadn't seen before.
True.
So, but I still don't really make the connection between that and her calling up the military base. Like that seems like a big escalation.
He's talking about orthodontists. I need to call the military.
Yeah, that was
Crack
a little
this case.
bit of a leap. But I think she was suspicious of him to begin with.
True.
Or maybe just like irritated or put out.
Yeah, she seemed like she thought it was pretty lame that her mom was like wanting to talk with this dude. Like it's
That her mom totally wanted to fuck this guy, because she totally did. I feel like every scene with anybody in him was just like them being like, please put it inside me. Even the dad.
Yeah, dude. Especially the dad. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's always asking him to drink. Yeah, dude. Trying to butter him up.
What I actually wrote down, I was like, question mark, is there something oddly erotic about the final fight between Anna and David? Like, or is it just
No.
me? Or is it just the music?
It's the sexual music and the fact that
Okay.
everyone else gets like shot from a distance and he mounts
like-
her
yeah.
and
True.
grabs her passionately.
Yeah.
Passionately.
Well, we've seen him make that move before.
It was a passionate stabbing.
It was a passionate strangulation.
No, just me. All right. Fallon gets it.
Yeah. And I will
I'm
say
so not qualified to talk about this movie.
qualifications.
Welcome to Second
Since when have we
Class
ever had that?
After Dark.
I mean, on top of that, I will say that this the mom, she just moves so fast. She went from like staring, you know, at the wall in her house, having this guy come up, and then all of a sudden he's like living there. She moved way too fast. I was like,
You know?
Yeah, next thing you know, he's like going to PTO meeting.
they moved so fast.
I actually feel like that's a regional thing, because I was like, as someone from New England, I cannot identify with asking a stranger to have an elongated stay in my home. I'd be like, okay, bye, stay at the motel.
I'd be like,
Get off my lawn.
You found a motel. Here's a couple more.
Yeah,
That one's
no.
full.
Like, as a New Englander, that does not resonate with me.
Yeah.
They were in New Mexico.
Is that where they were?
I was wondering that. That's southwestern
Well, just think about it.
hospitality.
You wouldn't have gotten taken in by the guest.
True.
Uh-oh. I
Take
mean,
your
maybe
own
if he
safety.
was
I wouldn't
the
get to
guest.
bang David, but I probably would.
You
get
also
stabbed to
would not
death
get
either.
stabbed to death by David.
Worth it.
David gave a lot of good advice, though. I mean, when he went with the mother to school, first off, he
That
gets,
was awesome.
He gets the kid knocked down from being expelled to a very fair 30-day after school detention
Yes.
working on the Halloween dance. Which,
which
you
was
know,
awesome. It was like a fucking haunted house.
Yeah.
Like, what a punishment.
That actually led to like my primary question for this movie, which is what we discussed earlier.
Which is, where is there a Halloween dance?
Yes! Do Halloween dances exist?
I don't know, because we
Where
went to
are
the
they?
grown-ass prom at the Met like a few months ago, and I was wondering why they don't do a Halloween prom or like Halloween haunted fucking hootenanny.
Dude, I would love to go to a hootenanny.
Haunted hootenanny. Somebody do it.
They can host it at the Galleria.
Oh, the Bargain City Galleria,
Of
everybody. All right, so if we don't have anything else to say as far as successes, do we want to talk about things that maybe made us feel a little weird? Things that maybe didn't work out so well? Fallon, look like you want to say something. You're gritting your teeth because you don't want to talk ill of David, and I understand.
I don't want to. I wrote simply down, the turning point is so crazy. I don't even know if that's a failure, though, because I accept it. I accept because, as you said, that aforementioned just longing for this fictional character really clouds my judgment. It is, I mean, for certain it's jarring when we cut to the scene in the mysterious KPG corporation and suddenly the military's involved. And we're in a conference. We've been in the desert in the Southwest this whole time, and we're suddenly in...
Okay, all right, so...
Yeah, that was kind of my cabin in the woods moment. I was like, oh god, like super secret organization.
All right, so we're 37 minutes into this movie, and let's just go ahead and say that doesn't happen. Based on what we had seen in the previous 37 minutes, where do you think the movie would be going if that didn't hapen? Right? Like, I feel like if this movie was just going in a straight line, hit a wall, and then this happened, and then the movie kept going, as opposed. So what else could happen?
Everyone in the Peterson family marries David.
Okay.
I feel like she could have found out that he wasn't him, like who he said he was from the military or whoever it was that she called. She could have faced off with him, force him to like tell the story of where he's from instead of Agent Broyles from Fringe telling us where he's from.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then it would have worked just as well, I feel.
You don't think they needed to have those military characters? You think it could have been more about the relationship between Anna and David here?
I think it is a better movie with the military intervention because otherwise,
totally.
Yeah. Otherwise, now that I'm thinking about it, here's what it would have been. It would have started being, we probably would have gotten the on-screen kill of David killing the father's boss. We would have seen that. And then the rest would have been just her snooping around and doing some Scooby-Doo.
Sleuthing.
Yeah. And we would have just seen her try to investigate who killed her friend. I
think it would have gotten us to the same place, but it wouldn't have been as fun of a ride.
I think it would have been a lot tamer. It wouldn't have been as amped up because this has got like high energy, high action with the military part came in, and that is just what makes this movie so different and awesome.
I forgot all about the dad's boss.
That was
I like
weird.
that happened off screen. It was just like a
yeah.
footnote in the rest of this movie.
Yeah.
I believe the body count for this was 17, I think.
Not bad.
I don't
pretty
remember.
That's good.
Kingsman 1.
Did it? I never watched
I heard
Kingsman.
a lot of people get killed.
We had to watch that. Yeah, you got to like get to slow-mo to count all the people who die in that one.
Yeah, I bet.
Holy shit.
Looks pretty brute.
Yeah, so anything else like that we didn't anything?
I didn't write any negatives down. I barely took any notes to begin with, and I just really was enjoying the fuck out of this movie, and I barely wrote anything down.
Yeah, definitely just enjoyed watching it. I thought especially towards the end, like all of like the framing that they did for like the haunted house stuff and that whole scene was just awesome. Like every frame was just a fucking picture.
And it added a little bit more of that retro feel that I was really digging.
Yeah, it's so cool. I think so. Adam, Wingard? What's his last name?
Or Wingard?
Wingard or something.
Yeah, I feel like I after this movie and after seeing You're Next, I felt like about him the way I remember I kind of felt about Ty West after I saw House of the Devil, where I'm like, I'm on this guy's team now. I just want to see what he does. Maybe I won't like all of his movies, but I'm going to be curious about what type of movies he makes now because the choices he makes are really interesting.
Oh,
and
for sure.
I'm on board.
Well, that's fun. You bring up Ty West. That's like a perfect comparison too, because I feel the same way about him too. Where it's like, you know what? Because I didn't really like House of the Devil that much, but then the Innkeepers was like really good.
I loved
Yeah, you got curious about it, right? You're like, what type of movies is he gonna make?
Exactly. It's not just because I didn't like it didn't make me curious about it. So I was like, okay, well, let's feel it out. And then his movies keep getting better and better. Ty West, but I want to see what he's gonna do.
This is maybe kind of a nitpick, and I'm not sure if it would have made the movie better or worse.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy about the fact that we see Dave explicitly kill the gun dealer and his buddy Craig so early into the movie, because I felt like we could have been strung along as to whether or not Dave was necessarily a bad guy or if he was just like a super alpha male that was maybe doing things that were kind of sitting on the fence but were ultimately good for the Peterson family. I kind of would have liked to have been strung along for like another 5 minutes.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, because she makes the call, like, the scene before that, and then you find out. So it didn't really leave much time for us to stew.
Yeah.
Well, I think... what? Go for it.
I was going to say, I mean, but with the pacing of this movie, like, I think I had said, we were about 30 minutes in, and it felt like it was 3 hours, but that was a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With the pacing of this movie, I was like, okay, well, we got plenty of time with David, so that's fine.
Yeah. I think I liked that fact, because then we knew something about him that no one else knew, and then they had to operate without knowing that, while we could see him continue to try and cover himself up for a little bit.
That's
I think it added a little bit to that.
Yeah. This movie did clip along, but like everything developed perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Which is always appreciated.
A solid hour 40.
Since we always bitch about everything being too long.
Anything between 90 and 100 minutes is...
A bad movie just really overstays its welcome.
you know that. All right, so any specific favorite parts that we want to bring up that we haven't already talked about, or even that we have talked about that we want to talk a little more about?
The entire Halloween showdown, like, finale,
so
is just awesome.
Maze.
The imagery was awesome. The colors, the music, it was just perfect. I loved it.
Yeah, I feel like if you were going to be shown, I would want that Halloween maze and like a clip of my favorite Halloween moments in movies, like
for sure.
Just like kind of put that in along with like I said, the annual viewing of Trick or Treat or whatever your new classics are. Just watch the last like 15 minutes of this movie and feel that Halloween spirit.
Yeah, because it has nothing to do with Halloween, but just the scenery makes you feel.
Although I loved all the
spirit.
hokey paper Halloween decorations in people's houses leading up to it all. There's
Yes.
a lot of good.
Yeah, did they even really, besides the dance, did they even talk about how it was Halloween at all?
No.
Her friend had like a party, like a Halloween party, I guess.
That's true.
And then they were getting ready for the dance, and that was really it. I did notice the decorations in their house, like at the beginning, and I was like, must be near Halloween.
Yeah.
Although this starts getting into that tricky territory we were talking about before we even watched the movie, where sometimes someone's Halloween decorations could just be personal style.
Yeah,
It's hard
about
to
our lack of wanting to put away Halloween.
Yeah. It should be noted that I'm staring at a plastic Halloween candy bucket, and Brittany's microphone is a jack-o'-lantern.
It really is. It's pretty bad.
It's
in
also
here.
true. Now I'm looking around for more Halloween stuff, and I'm going to try and cover it up real quick.
It's awful.
We're
I
out
have
of
like
season.
a gravestone snow globe in the dining room.
Oh, that's right.
A bunch of black candles and like a thing that looks like a hand.
Yeah. It's not a hand, though. It just looks like one.
I love the spooky stuff.
That's
It's
extra
September 1st, so it's pretty much the official countdown to Halloween at this point.
Very good point. We're very in season. I take it all back. I'll show it all off. On top of the end scene, there's specifically where, I don't remember his name, but Broyles. In the mirror scene when they kind of have him and David have their like last little final battle in the
That
mirror.
was cool, little funhouse mirror action.
Funhouse mirror scenes can really go either way. They can be like super annoying.
I thought that one was
cheesy.
okay.
I really liked it. I liked a couple of the shots that they chose to use and how they used them. I thought it was. I just totally bought it.
I didn't think it was anything spectacular, but it also didn't overstay its welcome.
Exactly.
It wasn't like,
exactly.
oh, we're going to make you look at funhouse mirrors for 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, and like someone keeps turning around like, hello. and then the camera starts circling around. I'm
Running
like,
into
guys.
glass.
Oh my gosh.
That's good. There's definitely a lack of people talking to themselves in this movie, so that's a big positive.
Yeah,
For
no
sure.
one's ever alone for more than like 10 seconds.
Yeah, people had a good understanding of their spatial awareness and who was near them.
Eric, what about you for favorite parts?
I liked all the all the action movie homages that were taking place in this movie. There was a lot of face off going on in this movie.
Oh yeah,
tons of face off. We got a couple of Predator moments, and we definitely got some Terminator 2 near the end there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, unlike oh god, what was that horrible 80s throwback horror movie we watched with Robert Patrick in it as the principal? Do you remember what that was called?
Shit.
Lost After Dark. Does that sound right?
Now
Yes.
you're talking about the faculty
So
for
did
a
I,
second.
and
was
my
like,
knuckles started
you shut your
rising.
fucking poor mouth.
Did you see the tension?
I saw you guys like tense up.
I was like, first of all, he's the coach.
It's all right, guys.
Whistle.
I'm not your enemy.
We got this.
He stands
But,
in the sprinkler.
How dare you even know? But Lost After Dark was a piece of shit.
It was horrible, but the problem with that movie is that it wanted to tell us how much it loved 80s and 90s cinema, and it never showed us.
Yes.
And this movie like went out of its way to like direct its movie like an 80s horror movie and a 90s action movie.
Yeah.
And it went out of its way to like throw homages in there that they were subtle enough that if you didn't recognize the references, I'm sure there are plenty that I didn't, that you wouldn't notice it. But then when you do notice it, you'd be like, oh, I know what they like.
Yeah. It was like if you appreciate that type of thing, you would notice it.
Yeah. Well, on top of you saying this movie is very Terminator 2, you brought that up very early on. This is very Terminator. He was very like robotic and mechanical in his ways.
Well, I mean, what is the T-800
I need
other
your
than a
boots and your
robotic older brother?
motorcycle.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he gives him a thumbs up when he
Yeah, I
dies.
think
Yeah, so and at the very end of the movie, like as he's giving like his final dying speech, in my head, after because Eric, you brought it up and you were so right,
Yeah.
and then in my head I'm like, please thumb us up, please thumb us up, and he fucking thumbs up at the. I was just. They had to have known, right?
I
They
think
must
probably.
have.
God.
I mean, like you said, it starts the bar fight.
Yeah.
I mean, that I think was the first time you said Terminator was at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, because his
Never
movements are
earlier,
just
but-
so like, I've got this before you even know it. Like, the action editing in this movie was so good too.
It was really good. It like nailed every aspect of it. And at the beginning, because I feel like so often with movies that skip around genre-wise, you're like, I wish they would have just picked one and went heavy on that and then let
Yeah.
everything else kind of like supplement that. But I feel like this had like the perfect balance of everything. It was like perfect amount of thrill, perfect amount of action, perfect amount of comedy.
Yeah, it did it.
Usually you get 3 shitty movies, but in this case we got 3 really good movies.
So true.
Any last favorite parts before we move on to ratings, guys?
Any last hurrahs?
All right.
Oh, you know, the last thing I'll say about is I was looking up the soundtrack before I came over to remind myself what was on it because, like Eric, I also really enjoy it. And a few of the songs on there are by that group Survive, you know, All Spaced Out, who's been getting a lot of acclaim recently because they did the Stranger Things score. So they're actually playing at Great Scott in Boston in November if you want to go to that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Stranger Things was so good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I got my new Stranger Things shirt. I'm going to wear it to work tomorrow.
Ooh. Okay. Let's rate it. So let's rate it then.
Yeah, I'm going to go with
Yeah,
fuck
I'm gonna
you.
have to give it an unfortunate fuck off.
Oh my god, my fucking father.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck yeah! Who's this scared grandpa that wants the dress code upheld?
Ooh.
Oh my god.
My German grandpa.
All right, guys, let's rate The Guest 2014. Let's just go.
Fuck yeah.
All right, we got a fuck yeah from Brittany.
Obvious. Fuck
Yeah, I mean, fuck David. Fuck yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we need to talk more about this whole scary man thing.
You want to give this an I fuck David? You want to fuck David?
Are we all raising our hands? Hi. Yep.
Yep.
He's you know, at the beginning I was like, oh, he's so not my tape. Then I was like, yeah, no, he's total, but he is. You know?
He's everyone.
Well,
you know?
because he comes across as like muscular, like, you know, kind of douche, right? But then once
But
you
he's
get
like
that little
drinks,
hit,
but he's
he
like
drinks that hot
soft-spoken and
sauce
polite.
and peppermint, that cinnamon schnapps and hot sauce.
Oh my God.
And that's it.
well, and because he's got that little tone of serial killer to add that little bit of danger for you ladies out
Yeah.
there.
And you know what I think it is? I think it's like women are drawn to like strength but they want a guy who's like could crush somebody's skull, but he would never like hurt you.
But he can also teach your little brother math, and we'll
tell him
hold
to
the
light
door
people's
for you
houses.
at the party. Oh yeah, that's the most important part of advice. Oh shit, sorry, we were almost
know.
out. It. Tom was trying to get us out of this. He's trying to do the ratings, but we haven't
Son
talked
of a
about
bitch.
the
I
most
almost
critical
mentioned it
part.
earlier.
Okay, what's the most critical part?
The most
Fallon?
critical piece of advice we learn in this movie is that when you are faced with a bully, you stab them and burn their families' homes. Don't worry about it.
Bring a knife to school, and if they take it from you and kick your ass, just burn their fucking house down with their family inside.
Yes.
What's the worst that could happen? Verbatim. That's David's advice.
I love that David keeps testing the waters with the little brother, and the little brother keeps going along with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was totally ready to be a psycho too. I think he could have got there.
I think that would have been an interesting ending to this movie as well.
Oh,
I feel like
Kinda took
totally
after him.
turned
Yeah.
and was just on David's side.
yeah.
Teach me to be like you.
Well, there's still room for the guest too.
Yeah, well, that's true. At the very end,
We got a classic slasher ending here, and it didn't piss me off.
totally didn't. Because I thought he was gonna be like turn around and then he like takes his mask off and he like smiles or he does something stupid like he throws a grenade back in there or something, you know,
God.
like something dumb. But they didn't do anything dumb.
No, it's like even though the last line of the movie was a baffled "what the fuck," I still stand by my "fuck yeah" rating.
Yeah,
Loved it.
yeah, fuck yeah. Or I mean, we could just consensus. I want to fuck David. Eric.
Fuck yeah, fuck David. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
He's a real human. He's not a piece of meat.
Yeah, he's a medical experiment.
He's medical
built.
meat.
What?
I think
Medical
everyone
meat.
should just be. I think everyone should just be objectified more.
I
Yeah,
agree.
let's do it. Let's bring that mainstream.
Level the playing field.
Oh, that's great. Any final thoughts before we wrap ourselves up out of the guest, guys? Any final thoughts?
I do want to just
I don't know.
not talk anymore about the guest.
You're done?
Yeah, what did you think I was going to say?
I don't want to tell
Probably
you.
something about David.
I will say that.
What did you think of David's eyebrows?
Yeah.
I didn't like his
Eyebrows.
hair. It was a little too yellow.
How
if
could
I'm
you
being
even stare at his
honest.
eyebrows with those piercing blue eyes underneath?
It's true.
I was staring at his gruff the whole
He
time.
always
he had
like
good
talked
growth.
out of the side of his mouth.
And he had a really kind of weak, narrow chin, but now we're just
Really just nitpicking over here.
His chin was narrow, wasn't it?
How
like
could
sweating
the
my
man
ass
fit his
off.
teeth in his mouth?
All right. We're wrapping up here. I guess that's it then.
Well, now I want to know what you thought I was going to say.
I don't remember now.
You do remember, you son of a bitch.
I don't remember.
I was just
I'm
going to
moving
say,
on.
I just want to make one comment about how we finally saw Green Room and it was fucking awesome.
Oh,
Totally unrelated.
yeah. Green Room was excellent.
Yeah. Watch it if you haven't yet. We're late to the party.
Yeah, we were definitely late to that one. Just like this one. This movie came out 2 years ago, but we should have watched it like 2 years ago. But yeah, we all really liked it. So I guess you can watch it on Netflix if you really want to. It's out there.
What were you here for last, Hellraiser?
Oh no!
Hellraiser.
This was so much
Yeah.
better than that, thank God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for coming over and watching a good movie with us this time.
Thank
you.
you for giving me the opportunity to watch this movie again.
Give you a good excuse. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't we have a pattern going? We bring a movie to Fallon and it's terrible, and then she brings one on and it's great. We should stop doing that.
I like this trade-off.
I think we're
Right?
burning all of our goodwill.
Fair enough.
I'll say if you're enjoying it, Fallon, we're enjoying it too.
Always.
Okay, good. So if you'd like more information on our program, you can head on to Facebook, facebook.com/secondclasscinema. You can listen to our program where you're listening to us right now. We're also on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, secondclasscinema.com, and followingfilms.com. And we're on Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, that's it.
Hallelujah.
That's it's over.
Fuck David.